Thank you for joining me today, Gabriella. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Dona Women in Music?
I am a professional classical singer, opera singer, and I am also the founder of the Dona Foundation, or as is well known as Donne Women in Music. Donne means women in Italian. I'm originally from Brazil and I moved here to study. And I must say that for many, many years, I never questioned the presence of women in the history of music because I simply accepted that there were less women when I was at college and afterwards when I continued with my professional career as a performer. And the story of the reason why I decided to create a foundation now that promotes and amplify women in music was almost like a coincidence that I found this. I brought here today this encyclopedia which was called it's upside down, the International Encyclopedia of Women Composers on a secondhand shop in South Bank. As you can see, this is a kind of a heavy 2 volumes. And in this encyclopedia, Aaron Cohen listed 6,000 women composers from pre-medieval times to 1984. I felt extremely ignorant. And then I went and researched a bit more because as a woman in music, I felt like, oh, I should know these women. So when I started to learn all this beautiful music that I never heard, the stories behind these women, I decided to start a small passion project in 2018. It was a small website. I called it Only Women in Music. I listed the big list of women composers at the time had 4,000 names, which I inputted myself, and I pressed go, and then the rest is actually history. And now the foundation is a registered charity here. The resources are used by performers, by universities, by organizations. It has so much in this website. I invite all of you to visit because it has the big list of women composers. It has playlists. It has educational videos. We produce this very important data research every year, looking at the number of pieces by women performed around the world, which is a very important piece of data if you are interested in learning more about what's the real numbers.
Could you tell us what do you regard as being the biggest challenges which those who'd like to program more music by women face?
The first challenge is the ignorance of the repertoire. And when I'm trying to talk to people, because people say, oh, but there are questions like, oh, if the music was good, it would have made it. Or we don't think about gender, we only think about quality. And then you have to remember that opportunities never came equal for people. So now it's our job to really try to do our job to find these pieces first. Um, and the second challenge, then let's say that we decided, okay, I want to include. I think we have to you know take a conscious decision, I guess, when you are wishing to program that we were going to have to spend some time. If you want to be inclusive, you're going to have to dig deeper and to search with a lot of intention to find these works because some of them are unpublished or the scores are not easy to find or they will not appear easily in front of you sometimes like so many other pieces.
Could I ask you, how significant do you think is the fact that the scores of women's music can often be more difficult to access? How significant do you think that is as a barrier?
For me it's a crucial, very, very significant barrier. um, People don't realize sometimes that without scores or having the music properly edited, it doesn't have to be published by a big publishing house. It just needs to have a score that is a PDF or is available online or published as well, that is easy to read. I do a lot of Baroque music. I'm more used to dealing with manuscripts because Baroque music has a lot of manuscripts, handwritten. And when we study that, we learn how to read manuscripts. But many people that are in the music industry don't have time to learn how to read a manuscript. And if you're doing a rehearsal with an orchestra, for example, and all the music is very hard to read, it will not work. So not having this proper editions published or online published it creates a lot of problems, because then if you can't, you have a small orchestra, or it doesn't have even to be a professional orchestra, but they really want to play this music, but they can't find a good score to play. They're not going to be able to do it because they won't have money to buy or somebody to transcribe professionally that music. And what happens is that music is not played, doesn't get recorded. And if it doesn't get recorded, we don't listen on the radio, we don't listen on Spotify or any streaming. And what happens, we don't get any familiarity with that music, and then we live in this vicious cycle. So not having the scores is a huge problem.
Another challenge that people often talk about is audiences, and audiences being reluctant to go to pieces that they might not know, pieces by women that they're unfamiliar with. How big do you think this is as an issue, that this might affect ticket sales? Is it being a real fear for people to program things?
I think this fear is very common. I hear that a lot. um, I understand the problem. I understand selling tickets is important. I know how important it is. We all have to sell tickets. Now, having said that, I think this fear is more of the person behind the stage than an audience fear.
If you enjoyed this clip, feel free to follow the links on screen for more interesting articles and free courses from the Open University.